Why do guys hate it when women know they're beautiful? I remember my ex-boyfriend asked me if I thought I was pretty. I said yeah, sure. Not a big deal. Not something I think about a lot. But we do have mirrors now. He got all annoyed and passive-aggressive. After that he stopped complimenting my appearance and started telling me he was with me because of my personality. Another time this beautiful girl joined my course as an international student. A guy remarked that she obviously knows she pretty and how irritating it was. And other guys nodded their head like yeah. Sue annoying. They hadn't even tried speaking to her. She was the most chill person and was never talking about her looks. What gives? Because they think that pretty women are out of their league. If she knows she is pretty, she would never give him a chance. Because she knows better. Men don't want us to validate ourselves because they need us to need their validation in order to validate their own selves. Mind blown. Just last week I got a compliment from someone at work who thought I look more like in my late 20s instead of my actual 37 years, and I jokingly said, "Oh, yes, I know," and I patted my own shoulder like I was proud of myself. And another male coworker just stared me down angrily, and I didn't understand why. I'm not great at social interactions, but now that you mention this, it kinda makes sense. It's harder to control a confident woman. We're not supposed to think we're anything until they tell us what we are. And they can't stand it when we don't need them to tell us what we are. They want to have the power to give or take the title of beautiful. If we give it to ourselves, they lose that power. It's why those incels were calling Margot Robbie mid. They were trying to remind us ladies that only men can bestow that great honor. It's pathetic. They hate it when you have any self-esteem at all. They want you to accept as little as possible from them and be grateful for it. Looking back, I think my confidence is why I never had many serious boyfriends. I always accepted compliments and wasn't coy about it. Apparently that means I'm stuck up. Whatever. Who needs losers like that anyway? Those guys hate it because they want you to think you can't do better. Insecure guys hate it because they realize they can't scam you in their favorite emotional game, the I am not good enough for him game. That's why I hated that One Direction song. Please. Someone needs to save my generation from the word mid. I don't think I can take seeing another supermodel being labeled as mid. Insecurity is what gives. If a woman knows her value, men are more likely to be rejected, and their shitty behavior is less likely to be tolerated by her. Totally. Though I don't even think it's just a man thing. There are women who hate when other women think they're pretty too. You know that scene in Mean Girls. So you agree. You think you're really pretty? I've had that happen before, and it seemed to really bother my friend that I thought I was pretty. I also think I'm smart and funny. And I just figure if someone is bothered by any of that, it's their problem and not mine. Oh, I've gotten this before. Guy told me I was pretty. He wasn't being creepy about it, so I said thank you and smiled like I always do. He then goes, "You must hear that all the time." To which I responded, "Yeah, I do." He got mad and said that was a bit stuck up. TF, you want me to lie? Not to humble brag, but I do get that compliment a lot. It's still nice to hear, and I even thanked him. What does he want, lol? I reply to "you are beautiful" with "I know." And 7 out 10 guys hate that reply. And try put me in my place. When I just do it for giggles. At the moment I feel I can use it to weed out insecure men. A lot of men like the idea of women relying on them for validation. And a lot of those types also like the idea of being able to take away her self-worth as punishment for things like being rejected. They don't like it when women don't need their input to feel good about themselves, because it takes away their power. It's ridiculous. A guy sat at the same table as me for a social event asked me, "Has anyone ever told you you're beautiful?" And got so pissy when I replied, "Yes. It's not because I walk around thinking of myself as beautiful. But what kind of shit woostion is that? First of all, you sound like an English colonizer, discovering something. And secondly, yes, someone has told me I am beautiful." What reply did he want? I wonder? Number. You're the only one who sees me that way. Now let me be bound to you for eternity or one night. My magic-eyed prince. They want women to be dependent on their praise and light up like the moon if a guy compliments women. Because if women don't shine up like that, they feel they don't have any power over that woman. It's a subtle you should know your place vibe. But it's a pattern that goes deep and they might not be fully aware of where their discomfort comes from. When I didn't know I was beautiful, I was so much easier to manipulate and shape. I spent so much time chasing the illusion of false beauty that I neglected my mental health and became even more vulnerable to predatory men. Now that I know I'm beautiful, I can focus on myself in therapy, work on my kick-ass, amazingly successful career, and easily ignore any man who thinks he can neg me into submission. My self-esteem doesn't come from a weak, insecure, emotionally volatile person on the outside, hoping it will make its way, and it's knowing my whole worth, based on my own amazingness, from the inside out. If a woman isn't confident in her beauty, then it's easier to manipulate her into thinking she's not worthy of his attention. People get weird AF the more attractive you are. It's that simple. They don't. They hate that she knows her worth. This means that she won't date losers like them. If you know you're beautiful, it makes you confident. It's hard to manipulate a confident woman because no matter what you tell her, she knows her worth. Subvert the expectation. Normalize girls and women telling each other they're beautiful. Because then you'd realize you could do better. This happened to me. I was on a first date and we were relaxing in this guy's living room. He complimented my looks and I kind of laughed and said, "Yeah, I'm FCK and hot haha." Immediately he said, "Whoa, don't go too far." And I was agreeing with him? Like, yes, thank you, I know I'm awesome. Anyway, never saw him again. Self-esteem in women is a big issue for guys that like to play power dynamics in a relationship and use a woman's low self-esteem to make themselves the one in charge. So when a guy like that comes across a woman that has a good self-esteem, then they automatically know none of their bullshit will work and it annoys them. Men hate when we catch on to their gaslighting bullshit. A guy once told me I was cool and I responded, "Thanks. I know," and then he immediately told me I wasn't. Lol, like we can only have attractive qualities if we're unaware of it until a man likes it. I like myself. I don't need him to like me. It's harder to neg someone who is already confident. Humility was usually regarded as a good trait, but men made it more and more acceptable for them to be arrogant and overly confident, to the point where it's considered the ideal. Women are still expected to be humble, however. This isn't just limited to looks, but also intelligence and other inner traits. Men are always excused if they're arrogant. My last 2 long-term exes tried their damnedest to neg me. I just kept on with normal "you're so pretty" every time I caught myself in the mirror. Hell, the last one has such bad taste: cars, fashion, furnishings, you name it. I would have been horrified if I fit his aesthetic.